My name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awaken Magazine. And today we are continuing to celebrate the launch of Awakened Hearts. You can see it in real life and digitally. There.
Yay.
We're so excited about this book. We have 25 contributors sharing their stories of awakening to consciousness, mindfulness, and spirituality. All their wonderful, beautiful faces are here on the back of the book. And the book is available in Kindle. It's available in paperback and in hardcover, and you can find it at the link below, awakenedheartsbook.com. It's #1 bestseller right now on Amazon. We're super excited about that. We've got, 30 or so 5-star reviews. So encourage you to pick up the book and leave a review. And so what we've been doing all week is having the opportunity to meet some of our contributing authors and do that through just a fun panel conversation each day. And so today we have the privilege of being with Oracle Maureen, Ellie Epstein-White, Debra Stangl, and Richard Kepple. Welcome. Give yourself a hand.
Yay.
Hi.
Yay, us.
It's great to be with you. So today, I would love to get started by just having you share a little bit about yourself and how you are serving the world. And so for some of you, that could be through your writing, it could be through retreats, it could be through events, coaching, whatever it might be. Let's see, Richard, do you mind getting us started? Just telling us a little bit about yourself and how you're serving the world?
Sure. Currently, with Debra, she and I both basically run Sedona Soul Adventures, which is a company here in Sedona, as the name implies. And we put together retreats for individuals and couples, various lengths, really focusing on their particular issues. We don't go do group things because we feel like groups really don't specifically answer the questions that each individual or couple has uniquely. So that's part of that. And we also decided just recently to write a book called High Vibe Relationship, which we're also publishing now as we speak and hopefully come out next year. So those are the two things that we're doing together in service for the world.
I love it. Let's see. Debra, would you like to add anything?
Just that we've been doing the retreats for over 23 years now here in Sedona, and we work with a network of over 50 practitioners here who do basically every modality that's out there. And so we're able to do the retreats, each one being private and custom designed for each individual and couple. So it's really a wonderful way for people to really have an incredible transformational experience that really wakes people up.
I love that. And for those of you who are watching and you want to go more in depth in what Debra and Richard do, they were featured on the Awaken Magazine podcast. And so you can search that on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and listen or watch to go in depth into their stories. And of course, you will want to dive into their chapter, which I was just pulling up here. And one of the things that I love about our books, and if you're not familiar, this is actually our second anthology. So our first one featured 35 authors sharing their stories of awakening. And actually, Oracle, Maureen, and Ellie were both in this book as well, sharing their story. And the great thing is we have so many different stories of our own transformation. And so kind of get to share another story. But anyway, so here's a great picture of Richard and Debra, chapter 4, the wake up calls that changed everything. And so you get a chance to connect with the author here. And in the back of their chapter, we really want to make sure that you get a chance to get to know them in terms of their bio and their websites and QR code and so forth. So that's a fun thing about the book. So thank you guys for being here with us. Good to have you. And as you said, you're in Sedona. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see, Ellie. Tell us about yourself. I love when I get to do a live stream with you. There's something about that, the tapestry. Is that a tapestry behind you?
Yes, it's a tapestry. It's always been in the family, and since Zoom started and doing online calls, I always love the background. I thought it made for an excellent one.
It's very interesting. It almost looks like Noah's Ark, kind of a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it has all the animals there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Ellie, tell us about yourself, where you are, and how you're serving the world.
Well, I'm Ellie and I live in New Hampshire. I serve the world every day just doing my regular day job with working with the state and everything with that. But outside of work, I've been drawn to the healing arts, doing yoga, meditation, sound, energy work, and Reiki. And I'm bringing that, both using that with what I do with the state and just the energy and being there, and with my writing and personal life. Um, Lately, I'm really embracing my life as a writer and an author and stepping into that. I went to school for English and creative writing, but it's been many years and I'm stepping back into that. I'm realizing that's actually who I am, and it's authentically connecting all the dots for me and bringing me together whole.
Yeah. Ellie is a very good writer, an incredible writer, actually. And she references things in her book or in her chapter, other books that I've never even heard of. She she is very well read and an excellent writer. So thank you for sharing your story, Ellie. It's great to see you again. And Ellie's actually, I think I remember you're participating in our next book, Sacred Bonds. Is that right?
Oh, yes, I have other writing projects always in the future, and I'm participating in that book as well.
Yeah. I was so happy to see that. Yeah. So we have a book focusing on motherhood, either your life as a mother or your relationship with your mother or healing a mother wound. And that'll be coming out on Mother's Day 2026. So I was excited to see you participate in that. So, Oracle Maureen, what's going on, my friend?
It's all good over here, David. How about you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you
Wait,
too.
Ellie, did you tell us where you are? Did I miss that?
I did tell you where I was. I live in the state of New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. That's right.
New
All right.
Hampshire.
Good. That's one of the states I've never been to before. Good. Thank you, Ellie. So sorry, Oracle Maureen's my neighbor down the road.
Yes, I am over here in Orange County, California, not too far from you.
Tell us who you are and how you're serving the world.
Okay, I'm Oracle Maureen. I serve the world in various ways. As an oracle for Jesus, Kuan Yin, Mary, Buddha, and God, I deliver their messages here in all the different formats, the blog, the socials, the YouTube, helping to advance people's levels of wisdom, guiding them to create positive karma, enlightening them of what creates the negative karma. All of my profits from all of my spiritual work goes to our charity, Angels Among Us Foundation, where I help the suffering in the world, primarily the children and the animals. So everything I do for charity. In addition to helping bring their teachings here to Earth, I also do private readings, group readings, and teach classes and more. That's on my website.
Thank you, Maureen. It's good to see you.
You too.
Maureen is, anytime Maureen shows up to an event to do readings, she's got a line out the door. She's booked.
I love doing readings, and I love that I have like a great following doing readings. Sometimes I get frustrated that they keep me literally, and they've given me visions of handcuffs to the desk, to the chair. You have to do X amount of these messages for us before you're allowed to go do readings. So I enjoy those moments more than what people actually realize. So
it's good. It's good. Well, it's good to see you. Well, today, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is this concept of awakening, or to be awakened. Obviously, the name of the book is Awakened Hearts, which comes from our publication, obviously, Awakened Magazine. But I'm curious, Maureen, what do you think the word awakened means? What does it mean to you?
To me, what it means is, as we're going through our lifetimes here on Earth, our incarnations, in the physical dimension, we have so many temptations to turn away from the soul part of our being, which also is the heavenly part, the guides, the angels, God, that are constantly trying to help guide us through their whispers, their dreams, clear, loud, accurate visions. The awakening is to shift from being so highly connected to the physical material dimension and learn to live here in a link with them so that they can guide us. When we do so, we make more of those positive karmic choices, less of the negative ones. We also have the ability to receive all of their gifts and blessings where they can come in and give us healings, take away headaches, flus, guiding us, warning us. So we receive so much more help. When we receive that help, life here on earth, which is challenging, then can become happier and easier for us.
Thank you. Thank you. It makes me think of the scripture being in, but not of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in, but not of it. And it's that test of, oops, I just got myself too connected to physical dimension, which means falling into vanity, greed. Got to pull myself out. So I'm existing and operating from a place of selflessness, detachment, which pulls you away from the mistakes like vanity, greed, and there's so many more. So it's like this balance. And when we don't catch it, we fall down. When we do catch it, we're saved from that mistake. And then we're also rewarded by having catching on and making that wiser choice.
Mm-hmm.
So it is of, but not in.
In, but not of.
Yeah. In, but not of.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about you, Ellie? What does the term awakened or awakening mean to you?
Well, lately I've been into words and looking them up to see what they actually mean, at least in terms of the dictionary and all of that. And the word awaken means to spring into being, arise, to wake up. But for me, it's more of a remembrance. It's to open my eyes to the truth that's always lived within me and returning home to the heart and realizing that I should live in love and not fear. Also, to me, awakening isn't a single event. It's a continuous unfolding, like petals opening to the sun. Sometimes it's tender, sometimes it's fierce, but it's always sacred. And like what Oracle Maureen said, it's kind of learning to live in balance, living in the world, or living in but not of the world, kind of learning to navigate in alignment with source. And that's taken me a lot of years to figure out. And that's what's so beautiful about this story and this chapter, because I realized that writing does that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very evident. It's very evident in your writing for sure. Richard or Debra, whichever one of you wants to go first. See, now when I asked the first question, I asked Richard, and the reason why I asked Richard is because I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, that Debra usually goes first in most of the situations. And so I just kind of wanted to mix it
and
up.
last.
Kind of change it up.
First and last. It's like a Richard sandwich.
Yeah.
Debra's on the first.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
Debra.
go ahead, darling.
I really, I can go first. Oracle Maureen and Ellie did a very nice job, I think, of showing two different perspectives. I think the people have an awakening. My starting point is with the phrase and the realization that we are all infinite, multi-dimensional beings who have chosen to experience 3D. And so when we say it like that, I mean, going to what Ellie said, is that really what we feel we're doing in day-to-day work, in our book and everything else, is that you're peeling off the gunk, the things that are not you, that you've accumulated, whether it's karma or in this lifetime, to get back to your true higher self, your spiritual being, which is that infinite multidimensional piece. So that our job in the awakening process, as Ellie said, was to clear the gunk And then as you go, some people say it's like you're in a balloon and you're just cutting off sandbag and you continue to float up as the metaphor. That's kind of how we view that. So it is a process.
One of the things that I like about what you said was you kind of reversed it, because oftentimes when we think about awakening, we're coming from the human perspective and awakening to our multidimensionality. And
we're going back to ourselves. In our original creative form as we were born, our energy signature was pure consciousness, pure energy. And through karma, which may become through various methods or through our lifetime of experience for core wounds and other things, changes that and adds to that and then makes this 3D soup that we work with.
Mm-hmm. I just like how you initially said it, where it was like, we're a multidimensional being who is choosing to have a three-dimensional experience. And it's that's the remembrance that Ellie's referring to, is like, oh, I'm remembering that I chose to do this. I'm remembering that I chose to do, as opposed to, and it's a pretty significant shift versus, oh, I have a spirit, right? I'm having a spiritual experience here. So yeah, I love how you said that. How about you, Debra? What does this word awakening mean to you?
For me, it really is a moment that happened for me, and that we see happen, especially when we're working with people in our retreats. And I agree with Ellie that, of course, it's continually expanding after that. But I know that for me, and we see it all the time, where there is like this moment that happens. And that's why I love the word awakening, because it truly is about waking up. And it truly is. I think it's synonymous with the word enlightenment. I mean, the light goes on where you go, oh, wow, I am more than this meat sack that I'm dragging around. And there is just so much more out there. And that moment is such an incredible, sacred, Ellie used that word as well, sacred moment. And I think for a lot of people, it's a moment that they remember and a moment that they cherish, and a moment that they can actually trace back and go, here is when it happened, here is how it happened. And that's just something that is so incredibly exciting.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm curious about your before and after of that moment that Debra described. And for a lot of us, there's that initial moment of like, oh my goodness, wow, it's more than just what I see, taste, touch, and feel. There's something beyond. And then there's this, continually peeling back of the layers or the gunk, as Richard said. But for you, Maureen, you have a very obviously a very unique experience. There are not too many people that I interview that say, I am the chief master oracle channel for Jesus, God, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Mother Mary, Noah, Abraham. I'm
No, we're not there. No, they're not in the family.
I don't want to add to the list.
Yeah.
There's a very significant embodiment that you bring to the table, and your chapter is it's talking about a righteous path, as you describe it, where you feel called by God to walk a very deliberate path in order to be this messenger. It's pretty intense. Isn't it intense? I'm going to say it's the most intense chapter in the book, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And so what is kind of the before and after for you? Like, how was life different now than it was when those spirits started showing up in your bedroom that night?
Those years ago, right, David? Okay, I'll give you the good and the bad. Let's see where they want to start. How is it different? It's different in the sense that as I worked through passing a lot of initiations in my ascension process that I was not aware was ascension, initiation, development tests given to me. And I continued to actually ascend up. And this information was given. One incarnation was given, 2 years ago? That's all over my website. 2 more have been given. The one I'm getting ready to announce. The other one will be following it. when it was revealed to me, and what David is referring to is that in this chapter, I was given the tremendous gift when God and Jesus announced to me just a few months ago that this is formally my last incarnation, and that I received their words, the ultimate goal of what we come to earth to incarnate to achieve, which is to finally get released from incarnations here on earth. It's been hard. I've was open about it, and what's in the chapter, it's actually been so much harder than that, which will have to go into its own separate book. I can say I'm glad I did all the work. Obviously, God and Jesus are very strict with their oracles that work directly for them, especially as the chief. When I reveal the other two incarnations that they finally have given to me, it will make the pieces come together and the full link make sense on why, not just born and created as the soul to be his chief principal oracle, rather theirs. It will make the whole thing make more sense. They explained to me that I completed everything they needed me to complete here on earth, that I needed to finish learning as a guide on earth in order to be a full-time guide for them, finally behind heaven's doorway, and be allowed to work only from heaven, serving them, serving mankind. It's extremely rare for someone to achieve this and find out. They have asked me to reveal this in order to help enlighten people, that as much as people think they came here to learn about love, that's actually just kind of like a soft, G-rated thing is what we're going to say. What you really came here to do is to evolve your soul to the level of attaining what God said I finally attained, which was I came in here with full enlightenment already achieved. I needed to achieve also full obedience. The full obedience is hard. When a soul finally is evolved enough and has accomplished and attained both full enlightenment and full obedience, then he deems them ready to be ascended all the way to heaven, what's called full-time forever for all of eternity. There will be no more incarnations for me after this lifetime is over. I'll be serving them and mankind from heaven. It's tremendous. It's overwhelming. They said to look at it like to reveal this part of my story here should inspire people to want to get more committed to what they really came here for, which is, it's great to have fun. Trust me, I've had plenty of fun, but you came here for a higher purpose, and it is ultimately to attain that ultimate gift. When you are in heaven, you never have to worry about war, illness, debt, suffering. It's a completely, obviously, nothing but nirvana, paradise experience, but it takes a lot of work to attain it. I've attained it they finally revealed to me when I was in Rome recently, 6 incarnations. The first one they revealed to me is Mary Bethany. There's 2 more that were before Mary Bethany. I've had 3 historical incarnations and 3 non-historical incarnations. The hard part, being someone in the mainstream world, it's not easy to have to refrain, not getting to eat as much as I want, drink as much as I want, do things with friends as much as I want or used to before my awakening. Everything became much, much, much stricter. And my daughters are the first ones to attest to hearing me complain, but trying not to complain. It's a whole different level of discipline. The messages I deliver, revealing the difficult stuff, are not easy for me. They're not easy for me. They're not easy on me. It's not easy to get slandered by the people that go against them. I've had to make a choice to either obey them or disobey them. I learned years ago, you disobey them, you're going to feel their unhappiness. And I wasn't going to also do anything to lose my position.
Thank you for sharing, Maureen. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's a very inspiring, eye-opening. I would say an eye-opening chapter. It's a high bar chapter, right?
High bar chapter.
Obviously, the things that you're sharing, very high bar in terms of just talking about growth and spirituality and obedience. And I think that's a message that's interesting that I don't hear a lot in terms of the spiritual community is what
Yeah.
does it look like to be obedient to the call, and so very, very powerful, challenging chapter. Thank you, Maureen. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I think I'm nowhere near my final incarnation based on that chapter. I'm just going to tell you. I feel like I'm going to be here for a while. But I'm glad you're making it. Yeah. Ellie, I want to hear about life for you as you're continuing to grow and learn and awaken. I don't want to give away your entire chapter, but the last paragraph I do want to read because it is, describes part of what you're experiencing now in life. And so Ellie writes, "My words are no longer caged. They are feathers, waves, sparks, threads woven into something greater than myself. In releasing them, I move from silence into song, from fracture into wholeness. And together we are the tide. Together we rise, illuminating the unseen, remembering what has always been true. Even in the shadowed depths, light has never abandoned us. It has been waiting for our courage to meet it." Ellie, talk to us about how life is different for you now, having gone through an awakening journey.
Well, life now feels so much softer for me. Not really because everything comes to me so easily, but because I have grown and meet it differently. So I move more with trust, more with flow. I'm more in alignment. I'm listening to my intuition, which is growing stronger every day instead of the loud voices of doubt. I've come to realize that everything is a teacher, everything is connected. So even all of the grief that I've gone through, I view it as kind of like a sacred teacher now. And it's opened me up to deeper compassion with myself and everyone else, and for a reverence for life. And every day kind of feels more like an invitation to live as a prayer, to walk gently, love deeply, and basically create from the heart. So it's been a real journey to find my voice. And that was really sparked by coming into myself, coming into my body, and actually listening to it, which was the practice of yoga and meditation, really, and even sound. That's what opened me up. I was always interested in all of the spiritual aspects of things, but it was yoga that really got me to wake up and to listen to myself and my body. And since then, I've grown.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's amazing how our bodies are connected to, right, our hearts and our minds. We're like this holistic being, that even moving your body helped you find your voice. Was that kind of a quick process, like as soon as you started doing yoga, that you found it, or was it kind of more of a gradual unfolding for you?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I could say kind of both. In a way, it immediately opened me up for wanting to learn and discover more. But it took me actually a while to get to the yoga teacher training, which made me realize my body is giving me all this information, but I really need to get back to the page to really truly find my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt, as I kind of write in the chapter, it kind of was sticking kind of like honey. It wasn't kind of flowing so smoothly. It was like honey that was needed to kind of be warmed up and to flow. So, and once I started writing, it's like I never wanted to stop. I keep wanting to write, and I'm like, oh, I can write about that. And it just, I glow with it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you, Ellie. So Debra and Richard's chapter is called The Wake Up Calls That Changed Everything. I mentioned that earlier, and I want to read the first few lines because what's interesting about your guys' chapter is that you both share kind of a snippet of your story separately and then how you guys came together. But I love the first few lines, kind of just setting the context. Sometimes the life you were meant to live begins only after the one you built falls apart. For each of us, the collapse came as a wake-up call. What happens when two people of a certain age, I like that you say certain age. It's like a nice way of saying people who are kind of
Old, David.
No,
Old.
no. Experienced.
what happens when two people of a certain age
You
both
actually said
choose
that.
to change their lives? In our case, it created magic. By listening to our hearts, our intuition, and each other, we discovered that the impossible becomes possible. So, yeah. So, how, Richard, is your life different these days, having gone through your
Ta-da! Isn't it obvious?
Hmm.
Well, for
But it's
me,
more than just
it's
that.
more than that because, for me and my stroke in 2003, I mean, with the career I was having and how they kind of took me out of the high-tech Silicon Valley model of living, which was fabulous for many people, but it really wasn't my heart calling. But when I then changed to more of a life of service to others, then that helped me create, as Ellie and Oracle was saying, is that it helped me create a new life. And just so happens part of that synchronicity, part of that vibration was somebody much like me who believed in service and believed in helping others and believed in their own personal spirituality and their commitment to it. And it was her. So ultimately the reward for that transition out of a lifestyle that was pretty amazing to a new lifestyle was really for us the ideal way to say that. So it really was, it took me years to kind of, and a little extra help on the way to get to that extra point of getting to the next level, getting to the next opportunity. But when it occurred, literally 2 weeks later, she showed up on Match.com, no less. So, it was magic because there's no other way we would have met. She was from a small town in Sedona. I was in San Jose, California. There's no way we would have met normally. And so, all the things conspired in our favor once we both made the decision to step into our spirituality and step into our own power. And when that happens, we naturally attracted each other.
Mm-hmm. Very fun. How about for you, Debra? How is life different?
It's so black and white how my life is different because for 20 years I was a divorce attorney, and now I've spent 20 years helping people stay together in a wonderful and juicy way and helping people transform their life. And so to go from doing work where I felt like I was helping people, but oh my gosh, it was so surrounded by so much negativity and upset and awfulness. And so to go from doing work that was ultimately so soul killing to doing work that has been so satisfying and transformational is just fantastic. And then as other people were talking, what it went into my mind was literally my life is magical now. And so it wasn't before. I mean, I would have things happen that I know had to do with my intuition and little glimpses and things like that. But to go from a life, from just a normal, regular life to having magic happen, and to have magic be something that I expect, and to have things happen where God shows up and angels show up, or my guides suddenly come in to me when we're in Egypt 4 years ago, and just all this magic. So it's very black and white now. It's like going from this literally a black and white movie to a color movie in
It is like the Wizard of Oz
in
in that way. It
Technicolor,
really
like
is.
in the Wizard of Oz. Yeah,
It really is.
Amazing.
Technicolor and stereophonic sound.
Tell me something magical that you have experienced recently. Like, what comes to your mind?
Recently, um,
It could be in the last year or so. It doesn't have to be a timeline, but just
yeah,
something comes to your
yeah,
mind.
yeah. Well, literally, the most magical thing that's happened, and it's kind of continued to happen, is that a few years ago, I suddenly found myself where everybody around me thought I was having a stroke, and which is interesting because of Richard's background. And Richard got me to the hospital. I have no recollection of this. Got me to the hospital. I've never been in a hospital overnight before, and they did an MRI and they did all this stuff, and they said, yeah, you're totally fine. We have no idea what was going on. And then fast forward 4 months later, and we're in Egypt, and I felt my brain had been taken over. And I've heard voices in my head, but not like this, where I felt like I was totally, completely taken over. And then my guide started talking to Richard, and then they showed up later, where we're now in communication with them. But the amazing thing was that after that, they then said, did you notice that we came in on 11/11/22? And we were like, no. And we went back and we looked at the stuff, and it was like, oh my God. So we literally just
There
had
are
the
no
anniversary.
coincidences, yeah.
No, we just literally had the anniversary of them coming in.
Yesterday.
And so the unfolding of that and the information that they're continuing to bring in has just been it. I mean, it really truly has been miraculous.
Wonderful. Amazing. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. One thing that is so apparent in all of our live streams is everyone's heart of service, right? And everybody serves in a different way. Like, that's one of the things that I just love about you, Maureen, is you not only serve people with such, well, number one, your mindset is, your mission is to serve God, right? Like, that's number one mindset. But your mission in serving God is to serve other people. And then I love all the things that you have a deep passion for children and elephants and our, planet. That's so apparent. And Ellie, I hear your heart of service in your workplace and through your writing. Your writing is just a huge act of service. And then Debra and Richard, obviously serving people through the retreats and all the different ways that you're doing that. So I admire all of your hearts of service, and I see it so clearly. And this book, of course, it's our desires to serve people, that when they would read the stories, that they would see themselves in the mirror, the reflection of what you have written. So I want to talk for a moment about the writing process. And some of you are experienced writers. Others of you, maybe this was a newer experience. So Maureen, would you mind sharing with us what the writing process was like for you in this particular chapter? Maybe how you wrote it, where you wrote it, how it flowed for you. Was it easy? Was it challenging? There's no right or wrong. I'm just curious about your process. Let me get Debra and Richard down here so we can see both of them. Hey, look at that.
Sure. Everything I write is something that is required, if not commanded, of me to write. So this was nerve-wracking because it was so like, oh my gosh, even more further out of the box. How the process works is God or Jesus will wake me up a lot of times and give me the command, exactly what they want me to reveal and why. And they usually have to spend some time helping to build my courage and bravery when I feel like, oh, this is making me uncomfortable, or oh, this is scary, or this is kind of invasive. They show me how it's helping them and it's how it's helping mankind, and how it was also in my contract that I agreed to do this before I got here. So after the intervention is over with both God and Jesus and Kuan Yin, usually, then they start to flow it right into me, and they will literally give it to me 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it'll be in the middle of the night. It'll be when I'm in the shower. A lot will be when I'm in meditation, especially when I'm praying the rosary, and they will just download me with the words and what they really want me to help people understand in order to help them, and in the process helping God to help them. So it's a process, and I'm on call around the clock until I complete the mission. And then when I do, I get big rewards from God and Jesus that will come to me. They'll be given to me with blue ribbons, trophies, gold stars, and then how the blessing and the reward shows up could be anything that would help me here in the physical world, as well as also showing me the set of white stairs. You've ascended to another level. We've gifted you more activation. So it is, as everything that we do is actually a work reward situation, or a not work and consequence situation. So everything we do, he's giving us something positive or negative. So when I obey and I go the level of not missing anything they want me to disclose, I obviously get the bigger rewards. It's easy for me because it's literally being given to me. The only hard thing for me really is, again, the courage, the bravery, and then sitting in front of a computer for hours at end, because it will give me headaches given my high sensitivity level. So that's my challenge, is the headaches and the bravery. I'm just trying to fit in. Girl, just trying to fit in here, but it's getting kind of harder and harder now, isn't it?
I'm curious about that, Maureen, because, and I've asked you this when I interviewed you for Awaken Magazine, but how do you navigate the people who are skeptical, the naysayers, the people who are like, she's a little much, like she's really intense on this whole like obedience thing, or you know what I mean? Like people, anybody in the spiritual community that has a direct message that's unique deals with that type of,
Yeah.
questions or backlash or whatever. How do you navigate that?
At this point, it is an issue, but I'm happy to say no one's ever disrespected me or slandered me to my face, but they have behind my back. And when God and Jesus painfully open up the crystal ball in the middle of the night, which is like harder for me because I'm not prepared for it, I'm in lullaby land, and they'll show me a client, a student, a friend, or a family. They'll also show me why they're slandering me. It always usually comes down to the fear, the jealousy, and a lot of times courtings from the demons. They then show me you are to remove yourself. They're no longer in your house on a personal level. You're not allowed to serve them as a client or a student. We will not serve them until they come clean and become honorable and make this slander up to us, you and them. So there is an undesirables list that I was required to start years ago that don't get to sit in the chair in front of me, that they will not serve through me. So it's like an issue. God and Jesus will wake me up many times when they'll show me it, especially with the Trump movement happening, is when it really, the onslaught would happen. And they would tell me, you are to continue to do your job, deliver the messages, walk on. I will be dealing with them. And if people could hear God when he speaks like that and Jesus speak like that, I'm telling you, they would never slander me. So those that want to really like mess around with this and question who I am and then slander me because they don't like it are going to end up on the receiving end of finding out painfully how wrong they were. He's even let me know that not only will they suffer this pain and suffering for slandering one of his saints, one of his holy ones, his chief principal oracle, but he will also humble them by showing them in their own dreams who I am and how they were wrong. So basically, he's going to give them to this way, and he's going to give it to them that way. So then
Talk about karma.
Don't mess with Oracle Maureen.
If you don't want to suffer, don't mess with them, because they are extraordinarily protective of me, and they mean business just like they would with any of their saints. But one that's got the courage to go out there and deliver the hard messages, it's like I wouldn't go there, and they will show me. They have shown me things that people have suffered with as a result of the slander, and they show me.
I got a question for you. got a question for you, Maureen. If you're at an event and there's a line of people, and the next person up to sit in front of you is Donald Trump, what would you do? He said, I want a reading from Oracle Maureen. What would you do?
I'm literally at their mercy. So I'm literally out of my body in a trance. And you'd think I'd be like, hey to the no. If they want to speak to him through me, they're going to speak to him through me. So I can't even put a hard line on that because I'm working. And if they want to enlighten him, they very well will probably use me to warn him of his future afterlife and try to get through to him as a way to help protect basically the Americans and then also him. So I'm literally like, I don't know which way they're going to go.
Yeah.
What I do know though is people who have had readings with what's called us, and if they've felt like they don't want to make the decision that heaven has guided them to make through me, and that resulted in them talking CRAP about me behind my back to their friends because they didn't like something being exposed, that they need to change a habit. They come to me for a session again. This will often happen. Boom. Door shut.
Really? No
Wrong door
messages.
shut. They get nothing. And then I'll hear
Fascinating.
Kuan Yin and Jesus say, we will not be serving them today. For how dishonorable they were to our oracle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Okay. All right. I got to give some other people some airtime here, Maureen, but I find these questions very fascinating
Yeah.
with you. So thank you for sharing.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see, Ellie, how about you? What was the writing process like for you in this chapter?
Well, writing my story, this particular chapter was difficult for me, mainly because it triggered so much and it touched my heart so deeply because of the nature of what my chapter is about. But I also found it to be very therapeutic at the same time because it asked me to revisit some tender places that I really wanted to forget. But while doing so, I found the strength and clarity and forgiveness. The words came like waves. Sometimes they were fierce and sometimes they were still. And I learned to surrender to their rhythm. And so the writing was almost became like a ceremony of remembrance and a way of transmuting all my pain into light. The words poured onto the page and I found myself just writing and then rewriting it until I found that it was just the way it was supposed to be. This chapter, although it was one of the hardest for me to write, I found it to be one of my favorites because as a writer, it was truly just for me a classic story that really makes for a literature masterpiece. Kind of like the ones that I learned about in school and perhaps some of the ones that I mentioned in my chapter. But it was also one that I feared sharing actually with the world at the same time, because it really leaves me truly vulnerable with the world at large. But that's precisely why I felt I needed to write it and called to write it and needed to get it published and out there into the world.
Mm-hmm.
This story truly shows how I embodied and stepped into my authentic self. And what I learned during writing this piece was that writing was truly a spiritual journey for me. And without writing, I miss connecting not only with myself and others, but the world and the spirit beyond. What I realized from writing this piece was actually a lot of my writing is actually channeled from spirit or whomever wants to come through at the time. So a lot of it just kind of comes and I just kind of know that's it when it's truly meant to be and onto the page.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. I love how you talked about this. Felt very vulnerable, right? It felt like, oh my gosh, I'm putting this out there. And many of our authors from the first book, second book will say that and say, geez, is this too, is the message too intense? You know, like I'm hearing Oracle Maureen shares, like this is too much, right? Or is this too personal about my life? And what are people going to say? Or yesterday I had a conversation with a woman, Brenda Lee Matosh, who for, I think it was 30 years, she managed private airplanes for celebrities and rock stars and all this. And she's like, man, I've never gone public with my story of awakening, of hearing, messages from the Council of 12. And she's like, it's going to be out there now, right? It's going to be out there. And so anyway, for me, when I read every one of the stories, the result, Ellie, is, I never read a story and I'm like, oh, geez, wow, okay, right? It's always connection and empathy, right? I feel more connected to every person who I read the stories. And it's not my story. It's not my experience. It's not my, right? It's your story. So it's interesting because as a reader, I don't have to take it on as my story, or this is what I can take it on and go, step into your shoes for a chapter and go, wow, look at that. Look at what life has been like for them. Look at how they're serving the world now. And so there's connection. And then for the points where there's been challenge, there's a lot of empathy to go, oh, wow, okay. And I may not have walked through that particular challenge, but I've walked through my own challenge. And so, there's a sense of resonance there. So thank you so much, Ellie, for your vulnerability in this chapter. What is your hope for your chapter and the book as it gets out there? What would you say?
My hope is that Awakened Hearts will travel far and wide and touch those who need a reminder that healing is possible and that that light lives on the other side of darkness. I hope that each story is a lantern illuminating the path for another soul to find their way home, and I hope it will inspire a collective rising, one heart, one story, one awakening at a time. Basically, I hope this book, my chapter, everybody's chapter, really inspires people to do the work, to help be of service to the world, to kind of meet the bar for changing the world for the better, to make it one where everybody wants to come and live and be better. And that's my vision for it, for all of my writing, like for these to be teachable moments, but not just teachable, to find that, oh, hey, I can do it too. It doesn't need to take one special person, but to kind of find their true calling, find their awakening moment.
Yeah, beautiful. And people can connect with you on Facebook. You've got the URL there, and I'll put it in the description once this video goes live, facebook.com/ellie.epstein.white. So thank you so much, Ellie, for being with us. Yeah. Debra and Richard, what was this writing process like for you guys? Like, did you both write? It was Debra at the keyboard and Richard's given his idea.
Dictating.
Yeah,
Richard's
I'm curious.
dictating, yes.
What was it like? No, Debra, I did not feel that. I felt this way. Don't tell me how I felt.
Soup, sometimes when somebody puts the carrots in and somebody puts the onions in, there's a debate on how much of each. So
Well,
it was a collaborative process with some emotion at times. It's normal in these things.
well, and
But seriously, how did you do it? Like,
We're
sit
no,
down.
we
We're
will.
getting there.
Yeah. So I had written a book I wrote a book in 2016 where I really came out. And so I had already experienced the moment of, oh my God, I have really come out and told everybody not only how weird I am from the standpoint of the spiritual stuff, but also everything about my past. and my life and the mistakes that I have made and all the different things. And it was so interesting because I met Richard literally a month after that book came out. And when we connected for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this guy can read this book and know every single horrible little thing about me. So I had already kind of gone through that process. But we have a thing where the book is a combination of the experience, because between us, we've been working with couples for over 40 years. And so we have our experiences. And then what will happen is, as we're meditating or channeling, all of a sudden information will come in. Excuse me, information will come in, and then we'll go back and forth and agree or disagree on that. And then one of us will write a part. We don't write together. We each write different sections. And then when we're coming back together, if there's something that we don't have that many deep disagreements about things, but when we do, what we figured out to do early on was to muscle test on it. Should that be in or should that be out? So it's really simple. We're just giving that over to higher consciousness. It's not about, one of us winning or losing or arm wrestling.
But let me interrupt.
I'm just wondering about this muscle testing, because if I'm the person that's going, well, if it breaks, it's not going to be in and I want it to be in. I mean, I'm holding on for dear life, making sure.
But David, doesn't work that way. Muscle test, you can hold on as much as you want. It just ain't going to work that way.
Yeah, but here's the little secret that I learned along the way. Is that if I ever got kind of blocked, I said, oh, Deborah's doing this. I just reminded myself one thing. Who's now the 6-time #1 best-selling author in our family? Her.
So there were times.
So for me, as much as my ego wanted to say, well, I really wish we wrote it that way. It kind of goes a little, Ellie gets this because she's obviously a fabulous writer and gets this. But, I'm from an engineering background. My written skills are not at the same level or tenor that hers is. So in some sense, the dovetailing of my bringing in, for instance, some of the spiritual concepts that we talked about earlier, and kind of looking at the energy pieces and how that all fit together, and then her crafting together the stuff. Or, for example, we have a question, says, Richard, I go off and do some research. I come back with a sort of a Word document that she then integrates in. So there's this really good syncopation back and forth with both of our unique skills and perspectives that allows us to take and raise it up even at a higher level for total writing. So it's a combination thing. It's not one or the other, but she's clearly the better writer, hands down. Let's get that over there right now.
Well, our styles are different too, and so that's part of it. And don't get me wrong, there were a couple of times where we were ready to duke it out. But that's why the muscle testing was so good, because we're like, okay, we're just going to hand it over and let the universe, let God decide which way it's supposed to go on this. And we both agreed to be bound by it, and we always were.
Yeah.
We always.
Well, that's because our commitment to ourselves and to each other is our spirituality, which is that integrity of being faithful to what the universe guides us to, as Maureen said earlier today.
Right. Exactly.
So you don't mess with that. It just says if you jump, you just say how high. That's all there is to it, and you do that.
That's all you can do.
I want to read the last few lines here. I'm not giving away the plot line or anything, but it's very inspiring. You guys write, we are both living proof that life offers second chances, and we've discovered they arrive when you do the inner work, listen to your intuition, follow your heart. For both of us, the second chance was born in Sedona. For you, it may be born wherever you choose to listen, to trust, and to begin again. Whether it's work, love, health, or family, real and lasting transformation is not only possible, it's waiting. When you commit to these three truths, life doesn't just give you a second chance, it gives you the life you were born to live. Yeah.
Great writing.
Richard, you wrote that part?
That's really good.
I think she wrote that one. That is the point, though, we're trying to make here, is regardless of our backgrounds, regardless of who we are individually, the combination of us two and how we work with each other and our commitment to ourselves first and each other second, and the relationship is what makes this work for our writing.
Mhm.
for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And people can follow your work, obviously, and learn all about the retreats at SedonaSoulAdventures.com, and
Yes.
can find all of your social media accounts there. Oracle Maureen, I want to ask you, what is your hope for this book as it gets out into the world?
Okay, my hope, we'll just start with my chapter here. They were telling me is to help give clarity and enlighten people that there truly is reincarnation, and that we really do, our little souls, come back to this schoolhouse for the soul called planet Earth, also a playground for the soul, as many times as it's going to take until you finally reach full enlightenment, and what I learned, also full obedience, in order to finally be released from these difficult, painful incarnations on earth and be allowed to have nirvana, what's called for life eternal. Being mindful of this will no doubt help you start to shift your perspective and your choices so that you can help get yourself there quicker rather than staying on the playground aspect maybe too long, too hard. So the sooner you're more dedicated to the schoolhouse part of life on earth, the sooner you will finally make it permanently and forever behind heaven's doorway, where we have nothing but bliss and harmony to be able to experience, and we are free from the pain and the suffering that happens on earth. That is my hope for my chapter. As far as the book, everybody is in different places in their stages of enlightenment, as well as becoming woke to the reality that life on earth is so much more. I know that the authors here will help contribute, and people who are interested in gaining more enlightenment and clarity in so many valuable ways. So my hope is that people do read this book and go back and maybe reread authors' chapters once they feel more strong and have gained another level of enlightenment, then things may have a deeper meaning to them.
Thank you, Maureen. OracleMaureen.com is where you can find all of Maureen's writings and opportunities for supporting her nonprofit, as well as, of course, getting readings and so forth. One of the things that I love what you said, Maureen, is that there are people at all different places and seasons, I guess I would say, of life and of spirituality. And so that some chapters will super resonate, and then others will be like, oh, I'm not quite sure what they're saying. This is a little confusing. And then they could go back later and go, oh, okay, I get this now, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's what I love is as different chapters resonate at different seasons. So
Yeah.
Debra and Richard, how about for you guys? When you think about your chapter and the book as a whole, what is your hope as it gets out into the world?
Well, for the book as a whole, I love the idea of people really getting it, that it is possible to awaken, that it is possible to transform. And for our chapter, and specifically, it's been so interesting to us that when we are around other people, they say to us all the time, you give us hope. There are so many people out there who have given up on relationship, who have decided, I just want to be alone. I don't want to deal with it anymore. And what we believe is that coming into the divine relationship and the mirror that provides for providing transformation, for burning off karma. There's nothing faster than a relationship to be able to do all that for you. And so I love the idea of people seeing two people of a certain age who were able to come together, and particularly two spiritual people and people who are, part of the transformational movement and part of the idea that we really can transform our life. We really can move into these higher vibrations. And so to be that kind of inspiration, if we can even do that a little bit for a few people, that means so much to
It'd
me.
be worth it.
Especially people of a certain age.
Yes.
Well, we all have scars, right? And the problem is sometimes the scars are still there. So what we're talking about is how do you help get those scars healed, and then move on with the next chapter of your life, which comes from springs in here, not in here. And so all of us have been talking about the heart-centeredness of this journey, and that's what Debra and I have shared since we met a little over 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so you can get the book at awakenedheartsbook.com. That'll take you right to the Amazon page where you can access the Kindle, the paperback here, which has everybody's wonderful faces on the back, and then the hardback, which I should be getting today. And I think you guys are getting your hardback copy today or tomorrow. I think they're in Sedona, I correct, and I think your guys is tomorrow. Hopefully, Maureen or Ellie, you guys haven't gotten yours today yet?
I just got a box before this. I think I did get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I think it's showing up today or tomorrow for most people. So if you want to get your copy, you can go at awakenedheartsbook.com and get, like I said, Kindle paperback or hardcover. I would encourage you to leave a review. That helps us spread the word. That's one of the unique things about Amazon is when you look and you see a book has a bunch of reviews, you go, well, I'm motivated to get it. If it doesn't have many reviews or no reviews at all, it's kind of like, And so that's one of the reasons why reviews are so important to us. And for me, I will share, I am so passionate about this book and our first volume because as I started Awaken Magazine a year and a half ago, I just started hearing so many stories of awakening to consciousness, mindfulness, spirituality. And I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, we've got to get these stories into the hands of people around the globe because for me, my target audience, the center of the bullseye is that woman who has that kid who's in late high school, early college, and she's asking the question, is this all there is to life? Is there more? Do I want to be married to this knucklehead? What am I going to do in this next season of life? I've got these intuitive things that are happening in my mind or I'm having dreams. And if we can get this book in her hands and all of the hands, right? Obviously. But for me, I go, she's the target because I know if we can help women have these awakening experiences, it is a ripple effect through culture, through society, through our world, because women have that level of influence and impact in the family structure. And so anyway, I'm so excited about your guys' stories getting out there to more and more people. And I just appreciate your participation in this project, your vulnerability and willingness to be a part of the whole experience. So thank you guys so much for joining this journey. And for those of you who are watching, get the book, leave a review. All right.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ellie.
Thank you guys.
And you can join
Thank
us.
you.
Let's see. Today's Wednesday. Is today Wednesday? Yes. So we've got Thursday and Friday. We've got 2 more live streams. If you want to watch any of the other authors, you can find it on YouTube. Go to Awaken Magazine, search for that. Look for the playlist that features the Awakened Hearts authors. And there's lots of great conversations. So see you guys soon.